There is a moment every single morning that defines the trajectory of your entire day. It happens in that split second before your eyes even open. It is the moment the world comes rushing back in. For most of us, that moment is violent. It starts with the jarring sound of an alarm clock cutting through your dreams. Your heart rate spikes, your cortisol levels shoot up. Before your feet even touch the cold floor, your mind is already racing through a checklist of obligations. You think about the emails you didn't answer, the traffic you have to navigate, the kids' lunches that need to be packed, or the meeting at 900 a.m. that you're already dreading. You wake up in a state of defense. You wake up already behind. But imagine for a moment a different kind of morning. Imagine waking up not to a sound but to a sensation. The room is still dim. The world outside is still quiet. Instead of reaching for your phone to scroll through the chaos of other people's lives, you reach out and find warm skin. You find the steady, slow rhythm of your partner's breathing. In this version of the morning, there is no rush, there's no checklist. There is only the soft, heavy comfort of being held. This isn't just a fantasy, it is a choice. Every morning, you stand at a crossroads between these two realities. You can choose to wake up in panic, allowing the stress of the world to dictate your mood, or you can choose to wake up in pleasure, using the sanctuary of your bed to armor yourself against the day. How you begin matters. If you start the day in a state of high alert stress, you carry that tension in your jaw, your shoulders, and your mind until you fall asleep again. But if you start with connection, everything changes. The night owl myth somewhere along the line, society taught us a very specific script about intimacy. We were taught that the bedroom is for sleeping, and intimacy is something that happens in the dark, usually at the very end of the day. We have been conditioned to believe that romance is a nighttime activity, something we do after the dishes are washed, the work is finished, and the lights go out. But let's be honest about what the end of the day actually looks like for the modern woman. By 10:00 p.m., you are exhausted. You have spent every ounce of your physical and emotional energy on your job, your family, your friends, and your responsibilities. You are touched out. Your brain is fried. You don't want connection. You want to zone out in front of a screen or just close your eyes and drift away. When we relegate intimacy to the very last slot of the day, we are giving our partners our leftovers. We are offering them the scraps of our energy. Is it any wonder that passion starts to fade in long-term relationships when we only connect when we are at our most depleted? Night owl myth tells us that morning is for productivity and night is for pleasure. But biologically and psychologically, this is backward. Morning is when your energy is fresh. It is when your mind hasn't yet been cluttered by the noise of the world. It is the only time of day that truly belongs to you before you give yourself away to everyone else. When you shift your mindset from nighttime duty to morning ritual, you stop giving your relationship your exhaustion and start giving it your vitality. This shift doesn't just change your sex life, it changes the way you value yourself and your partner. What we will uncover. So why are we here today? You might have clicked on this video because you are curious, or perhaps because you are looking for a way to reconnect with your partner. Maybe you are just tired of the routine and looking for a spark. Whatever brought you here, I want you to know that we are about to go on a deep journey together. This isn't just a video about having fun in the morning. We are going to explore the profound science-backed and psychologically transformative benefits of early morning intimacy. Over the next 45 minutes, I am going to walk you through 10 specific reasons why shifting your connection to the AM hours is the ultimate life hack for your happiness, your health, and your beauty. We aren't just talking about physical pleasure, though that is certainly part of it. We are going to talk about brain chemistry. We're going to discuss how this simple act can act as a natural antidepressant, how it can replace your morning coffee, and even how it can improve the quality of your skin and hair more effectively than any expensive serum you can buy at a store. We will uncover how morning intimacy acts as a reset button for your nervous system, allowing you to walk into a high-pressure office environment with a secret smile and a sense of calm that no one can shake. We will talk about the emotional armor it provides and how it syncs your biological clock with his in a way that eliminates friction and builds deep unspoken trust. By the end of this video, you will understand that morning sex isn't just an act. It's a wellness practice. It is a way to reclaim your time and your body. So settle in, take a deep breath, and let's begin with benefit number 1. Benefit find 1, the ultimate stress antidote, the cortisol spike. Let's talk about the invisible enemy that is waiting for you the moment you wake up. Have you ever noticed that within minutes of opening your eyes, your heart starts to beat a little faster? You haven't even left the bed yet. You haven't faced a single challenge. And yet, there is a low level hum of anxiety vibrating beneath your skin. You might try to breathe through it, or you might reach for your phone to distract yourself. But the feeling remains. It feels like a tightening in your chest, a sense of urgency that says, you are already late. You are already not doing enough. This isn't just morning moodiness, and it certainly isn't a character flaw. It is a biological phenomenon known as the cortisol awakening response, or KR. Evolutionarily, our bodies were designed to wake up ready to face immediate danger, like a predator outside the cave or a need to hunt for food. To help us do this, our brain triggers a massive surge of cortisol, the stress hormone, about 30 minutes after we wake up. In the modern world, however, we aren't waking up to hunt. We are waking up to deadlines, difficult emails, family demands, and traffic jams. So this surge of cortisol doesn't help us survive. It just makes us feel paralyzed. When you wake up and immediately jump out of bed to start your routine, you are riding that wave of cortisol. You are letting stress be the fuel that powers your engine. You might feel productive because you are rushing around making coffee and yelling at the kids to get dressed, but internally your nervous system is in a state of fight or flight. You are burning through your adrenal reserves before 900 a.m. This cortisol spike colors your entire perception of the day. Because your body is in a state of stress, your mind interprets neutral events as negative. A slightly short text from a friend feels like a rejection. A slow driver in the fast lane feels like a personal attack. You become reactive instead of proactive. You are surviving the day, but you are certainly not enjoying it. This is the default setting for most women, waking up and immediately going into battle mode against their own biology. But what if there was a way to chemically neutralize that stress before your feet even touched the floor? The oxytocin flood. This brings us to the antidote. If cortisol is the poison that tightens your chest and races your mind, then oxytocin is the medicine that dissolves it. And the most potent source of oxytocin isn't found in a pill or a meditation app. It is found in the skin-to-skin connection with your partner. When you engage in morning intimacy, you are essentially hacking your own biology. The moment you embrace, kiss, or engage in deep physical connection, your brain releases a flood of neurochemicals: oxytocin, the bonding hormone, dopamine, the pleasure hormone, and endorphins, the body's natural painkillers. Think of oxytocin as a calm-inducing agent. When it floods your system, it literally lowers your blood pressure and reduces cortisol levels. It tells your amygdala, the fear center of your brain, that you are safe, that you are loved, that there is no tiger outside the cave. By choosing intimacy during that critical window when cortisol is trying to spike, you are effectively short-circuiting the stress response. You are replacing the fight or flight signal with a rest and connect signal. Imagine walking into your office after a morning like this. The chaos is still there, the emails are still piling up, the phone is still ringing, but your internal reaction to it is completely different. You feel a sense of floating. You have a protective emotional layer around you. I like to call this emotional armor. When you start your day with pleasure, the small irritations of life just bounce off you. Your boss's bad mood doesn't penetrate your peace. The traffic jam becomes a moment to listen to music rather than a reason to scream. You move through the world with a secret smile, knowing that your day started with love, not panic. This isn't about ignoring your responsibilities. It is about gathering the fuel you need to handle them with grace. When you are filled with oxytocin, you are more patient, more empathetic, and more resilient. You aren't just getting through the morning, you are gliding through it. This is the power of using pleasure as a tool for mental health. It is the ultimate shield against the modern world, and it is available to you every single morning, right there in your bed. Benefit Fight 2, the biological sync's hormonal harmony, his clock vests. Her clock, we have all been there. The alarm hasn't even gone off yet. The room is pitch black, and you are deep in a peaceful sleep. Suddenly, you feel a hand on your waist. You feel his energy shifting, waking up and reaching for you. Your immediate reaction might be a groan. Your brain is saying, not now. I'm tired. I have a million things to do today. Can't we just sleep for 10 more minutes? It is easy to interpret this morning desire as insensitivity or even just an annoyance, but to truly understand the power of morning intimacy, we have to look at the biology of the man lying next to you. Men and women operate on different hormonal clocks. While a woman's hormonal cycle shifts over the course of 28 days, a man's hormonal cycle is largely a 24-hour loop. And here is the crucial key. A man's testosterone levels are at their absolute peak in the early morning hours, usually between 400 a.m. and 800 a.m. Testosterone isn't just about sex drive. For a man, it is the fuel of his vitality, his focus, and his emotional well-being. When he wakes up reaching for you, he isn't just trying to get some. He is operating at his biological maximum. He is offering you his energy when it is most potent, most alive. By the end of the day, his levels have dropped significantly, often leaving him tired and withdrawn. When we reject this morning advance, we are often rejecting him at his most vulnerable and vital state. But when we understand that this is simply his biological clock seeking connection at its peak hour, we can stop seeing it as a chore and start seeing it as an opportunity. He is coming to you with his full battery charged. He is capable of a level of presence and passion in the morning that is chemically difficult for him to replicate at 1100 p.m. Understanding this removes the friction and replaces it with compassion. Tuning into your rhythm, now knowing his biology is one thing, but what about yours? If he is waking up at a level 10 and you are waking up at level 0, there is a disconnect. This is where so many women struggle. You might feel like you need to instantly jump from sleep to performance mode. You might feel the pressure to match his high energy, to be loud, or to be acrobatic when your body just wants to stay soft and still. This pressure is the enemy of pleasure. The secret to morning intimacy isn't trying to match his energy, it is learning to invite him into yours. There is a magical state of consciousness called hypnagogia, that twilight zone between being asleep and being fully awake. In the morning, you are lingering in this state. Your mind is quiet. Your critical inner voice, the one that judges your body or worries about the to-do list, hasn't woken up yet. You are soft, warm, and fluid. Instead of trying to wake yourself up fully, use this sleepiness as a tool. Think of it as a sensual trance. You don't need to perform. You don't need to do the work. You simply need to receive. When you allow yourself to stay in that half asleep state, your senses are actually heightened. The feeling of skin against skin feels more intense because your brain isn't distracted by visual stimuli or mental noise. You can allow him to be the active force, the waves crashing against the shore while you remain on the shore itself. This creates a beautiful polarity. He brings the fire and the testosterone. You bring the softness and the oxytocin. You don't need to speed up to meet him. You can invite him to slow down to meet you. By not rushing to wake up, you turn morning sex into a slow, dreamlike experience that feels completely different from nighttime intimacy. It becomes a meditation. It becomes a space where you don't have to do anything. You just have to be. And for a busy woman who spends the rest of her day managing, fixing, and doing for others, that permission to just lie there and receive pleasure is the ultimate freedom. Benefit Feint 3, the glow. You can't buy the estrogen effect. Let's pause the psychological talk for a moment and look in the mirror. As women, we spend an incredible amount of time, energy, and money trying to preserve our youth. We invest in night creams, retinol, serums, collagen supplements, and 10-step skincare routines. We wake up and immediately inspect our faces for puffiness, dark circles, or new lines. We are constantly searching for that elusive fountain of youth in a bottle. But what if I told you that the most potent anti-aging treatment in the world doesn't come from a dermatologist? It comes from your bedroom, and it works best before 800 a.m. Morning intimacy is, biologically speaking, a high-speed beauty treatment. When you engage in sexual activity, your heart rate increases. This isn't just cardio, it is a vascular pump that sends oxygen-rich blood rushing to the surface of your skin. This increased circulation helps to drain away the toxins and fluids that accumulate overnight, the very fluids because that dreaded morning puffiness. It effectively oxygenates your cells, giving your skin an immediate plumped up appearance. But the benefits go deeper than just blood flow. We need to talk about estrogen. Estrogen is the beauty hormone. It is responsible for keeping your skin hydrated, maintaining your hair's thickness, and stimulating collagen production, which keeps wrinkles at bay. Studies have shown that women who engage in regular weekly sex have significantly higher estrogen levels than those who don't. By starting your day with this hormonal boost, you are essentially feeding your skin from the inside out. Think of it as a biological facial. While a cold splash of water might wake you up, it doesn't change your internal chemistry. Morning intimacy floods your system with the very hormones that keep your skin elastic and youthful. You are signaling your body to repair and rejuvenate itself. So the next time you feel guilty about staying in bed for an extra 20 minutes instead of rushing to apply your makeup, remember this: you aren't wasting time. You are engaging in a beauty ritual that no cosmetic counter can replicate. You are quite literally loving yourself into a more youthful state. The natural flush now. Let's address the vulnerability of the morning face. For many of us, the idea of being seen by anyone, even our husbands, before we have fixed ourselves is terrifying. We have been conditioned to believe that our raw, natural face is something to apologize for. We worry about the pale skin, the tired eyes, or the lack of definition. We feel we need to put on our armor, our mascara, our concealer, our blush before we are worthy of being looked at. But nature has its own way of painting your face, and it is far more beautiful than anything you can buy at Sephora. It is called the afterglow, and it is real. After morning intimacy, your body undergoes a subtle but profound physical transformation. Your pupils dilate, which subconsciously makes you appear more trustworthy and attractive to others. Your lips become slightly fuller due to increased blood flow. Your cheeks take on a natural rosy flush that mimics the look of high-quality blush. This is the look of vitality. It is the look of a woman who is alive. When you walk into your workplace with this natural flush, you carry a secret. You know why your skin looks radiant today. You know why your eyes seem a little brighter. This creates a feedback loop of confidence. You aren't hiding behind a mask of makeup. You are wearing the evidence of love. There is a magnetism to a woman who has been thoroughly loved in the morning. People might not know what it is, but they will sense it. They will comment, "You look fresh today," or "You're glowing." This glow gives you permission to step into your day feeling beautiful in your own skin. It reframes the morning mirror check. Instead of looking for flaws, you see the reflection of pleasure. You see a woman who has been desired, and that internal feeling of desirability is the most attractive thing you can wear. It changes your posture. It changes your smile. It allows you to face the fluorescent lights of the office, not with insecurity, but with the quiet, smug satisfaction of a woman who knows she is loved. Benefit faint 4, vulnerability and the raw self. The fear of being seen. We need to address the elephant in the room, or rather, the elephant in the bed. When we talk about morning intimacy, there is usually one immediate visceral objection that rises up in a woman's mind. It isn't about time, and it isn't about energy. It is about hygiene and vanity. It is the moment you wake up, realize he is close, and your instinct is to cringe. You clamp your mouth shut because you are terrified of morning breath. You turn your head away because you know your hair is a tangled mess. You pull the sheet up to your chin because you feel bloated, or your skin feels oily, or you simply don't feel fresh. For many women, the morning is the most vulnerable time of day because it is the time when we are completely unmasked. We live in a society that places an immense amount of pressure on female presentation. From a young age, we are taught that beauty is something we construct. We curate it with concealer, we tame it with hair straighteners, and we enhance it with mascara. We are conditioned to believe that we must be ready before we are worthy of being looked at. So when your partner reaches for you at 6 and 30 a.m., before you have had a chance to brush your teeth or wash your face, it can feel like a violation of that social contract. The internal monologue starts running wild. "I can't see me like this. I'm gross, I'm unpolished." If he sees the real messy me, he'll be turned off. This anxiety creates a physical barrier. You stiffen up, you dodge his kiss. You might even shove him away and say, "I need to go to the bathroom first." But by the time you come back, teeth brushed, hair fixed, robe tied tight, the moment is gone. The magic of the sleep state has evaporated, replaced by the sterile reality of the morning routine. This fear of being seen in our raw state is a tragic barrier to intimacy. It tells us that love is conditional on perfection. It reinforces the lie that we are only lovable when we are performing, when we are clean, and when we are curated. We spend so much energy hiding our humanity that we miss out on the connection we are desperate for. We protect our image, but we starve our souls. The morning strips away the costume. It leaves you exposed, and that exposure, while terrifying, is exactly where the potential for deep psychological healing lies, because you cannot truly be intimate with someone if you are constantly hiding who you are. The psychology of acceptance here is the beautiful paradoxical truth about that fear. The very thing you are trying to hide is the thing he likely craves the most. When a man desires you in the morning, think about what he is actually saying. He is not responding to your makeup because you aren't wearing any. He is not responding to your fancy lingerie because you are likely wearing an old t-shirt or nothing at all. He is not responding to a performative version of you. He is responding to you, the raw, unfiltered, messy human you. There is a profound psychological safety that comes from morning intimacy. When you let him love you with messy hair and morning breath, you are breaking the cycle of perfectionism. You are allowing yourself to be human. And when he responds with passion, he is giving you the ultimate validation. He is proving with his body that his desire for you is not contingent on how well you polished yourself that day. This builds a level of trust that a date night simply cannot replicate. Anyone can be attracted to a woman in a black dress with red lipstick and blown out hair.
That is easy.
But to be deeply desired when you are sleepy, puffy-eyed, and bare-faced, that is the kind of love that feels solid. That is the kind of love that makes you feel safe to age, safe to be sick, and safe to just exist. Furthermore, there is an element of exclusivity here. The world gets the polished version of you. Your colleagues, your friends, the strangers on the street, they get the presentation. But your partner, he gets the raw truth. By letting him into that morning space, you are telling him, you are the only one allowed back here. You are the only one who gets to see the woman behind the curtain. This turns your insecurity into intimacy. It reframes the mess as a privilege. So the next time you feel that urge to hide, I challenge you to lean in instead. Don't apologize for your breath. Kiss him anyway. Don't fix your hair. Let him bury his hands in the tangles. Let him see you without the armor. When you realize that he wants you more, not less in this state, it will do more for your self-confidence than 1,000 compliments on your outfit ever could. It is the liberation of knowing you are enough, exactly as you are. benefit faint 5, that shared secret, walking on air, there is a very specific feeling that settles over you when you leave the house after a morning of deep intimacy. It is a feeling of weightlessness. Picture your typical Tuesday. You get in the car, you merge onto the highway, you sit in traffic, you walk into the office, you sit under the fluorescent lights. The world is grey, repetitive, and demanding. Everyone around you is stressed, rushing, or zoning out on their phones. But you are moving to a different rhythm. When you start your day with passion, you carry a secret with you as you sit in that boring morning meeting, listening to someone drone on about quarterly projections. Your mind drifts back to an hour ago. You can still feel the ghost of his touch on your skin. You can still smell his scent on your neck. You are physically present in the boardroom, but a part of you is still tangled in the sheets. This creates a psychological phenomenon I call walking on air. It turns the mundane into the magical. Suddenly, the rude barista doesn't bother you. The traffic jam feels insignificant. Why? Because you have already won the day. You have already experienced the height of human connection before most people have finished their first cup of coffee. There is a delicious, subversive thrill in this. It allows you to move through the professional world with a hidden smirk. You aren't just an employee, a mother, or a commuter. You are a sexual, desirable woman who has just been thoroughly loved. This secret keeps you connected to your femininity in environments that usually try to strip it away. It reminds you that your job is what you do. But the passion you experienced this morning, that is who you are. It acts as a buffer, keeping the grey world from dulling your shine. You are walking through the day with a little electric charge that only you know about, the us against the world mentality beyond how it makes you feel individually. This shared secret to something profound for your relationship dynamic. In long-term relationships, it is very easy to slip into what psychologists call the roommate phase. You manage the household together, you pay bills together, you coordinate schedules, but you stop feeling like lovers. You become logistical partners. You are two people running a small corporation called the family, operating on parallel tracks but rarely intersecting. Morning intimacy shatters this dynamic. It re-establishes the use when you share a moment of intense vulnerability and pleasure while the rest of the world is still asleep. You create a psychological bubble around the two of you. It signals that before you are parents, before you are employees, and before you are citizens of the world, you are a couple, you are a team. This creates an invisible thread that connects you throughout the day. When you text him at noon, it isn't just about picking up milk. That text carries the weight of the morning's memory. If you see each other across a crowded room at a family gathering or a work event, just a single glance communicates volumes. That look says, I know you. I know what we did this morning. I know who we really are. This is the gang against the world mentality. It acts as a fortress. When life gets stressful, when the kids are screaming or the finances are tight, that morning connection serves as a reminder that you are on the same side. You aren't enemies fighting over resources. You are lovers who have anchored yourselves in each other. By prioritizing each other first thing in the morning, you are making a statement of hierarchy. You are saying that the relationship is the most important thing in your life. It isn't the thing that gets the leftover time at night. It is the thing that gets the first time. This psychological shift is massive. It transforms you from two people surviving the day separately into a united front, fueled by a secret that belongs only to you. Benefit faint 6, mental clarity and creativity, clearing the brain fog. How many cups of coffee does it take for you to feel like a functioning human being? For most of us, the first hour of the day is spent in a haze. It is called sleep inertia, that heavy, groggy feeling where your brain is technically awake, but your neurons haven't quite started firing yet. You might stare blankly at your computer screen, rereading the same sentence 3 times, waiting for the caffeine to kick in. You are moving through molasses. But there is a stimulant far more effective and far healthier than a double shot of espresso. When you engage in morning intimacy, you are giving your body a massive physiological wake-up call. As your arousal builds, your heart rate elevates, acting as a natural cardiovascular pump. This sends a surge of oxygen, rich blood rushing not just to your skin, but to your brain. Simultaneously, your brain releases a cocktail of neurochemicals, including adrenaline and endorphins. Adrenaline wakes up your senses, sharpening your vision and your focus. Endorphins, often called the body's natural painkillers, clear away that heavy, sluggish feeling. The result, you don't just wake up, you ignite. Women who start their day with this physical connection often report a sensation of mental sharpness that lasts for hours. The brain fog evaporates instantly. You walk into your morning tasks with a laser-like focus. That email you were dreading writing, you type it out in 2 minutes. That complex problem you couldn't solve yesterday, suddenly, the solution seems obvious. This is because you have primed your nervous system. Instead of dragging your brain into the day, trying to force it to work with artificial stimulants, you have naturally activated it. You have turned the lights on in the house before you tried to cook dinner. By the time you sit down at your desk, you are already operating at peak mental performance while everyone else is still waiting for their lat to work. It is a competitive advantage that feels like a secret superpower. The muse of pleasure but mental clarity is only half of the equation. There is a difference between being alert and being creative. This is where the magic of the afterglow truly shines. We often think that to solve problems or be creative, we need to stress, strain, and think hard. But neuroscience tells us the opposite. Our best ideas, those aha moments, rarely come when we are stressed or frantic. They come when we are relaxed. They come in the shower, on a walk, or right after intimacy. After the peak of pleasure, your body enters a state of profound relaxation. Your brain waves shift from the frantic beta waves of stress-active thinking into alpha waves. This is the state of relaxed alertness. It is the same state achieved during deep meditation or a flow state. In this space, your mind is free to wander, makes connections it wouldn't normally make. This is the realm of the muse. When you start your day in this alpha state, you approach your life with more flexibility. If a problem arises at work, you don't panic, you pivot, you see solutions that were invisible to you. When you are stressed, you become a better problem solver, not because you are trying harder, but because your mind is open. Think of it as post-coital creativity. The dopamine release fuels your motivation while the relaxation allows you to think laterally. You might find yourself humming a tune, coming up with a brilliant idea for dinner, or finally seeing the answer to a conflict with a friend. By allowing yourself to experience pleasure first, you are unblocking your creative channels. You are telling your brain that the world is a safe, abundant place. And from that place of safety, your mind is free to play, to invent, and to create. You aren't just surviving the day's challenges, you are dancing with them. Benefit phase 7, reclaiming your time prioritization. The I don't have time myth, I can hear the resistance forming in your mind right now. It is the most common objection I hear from modern women, and it is entirely valid. You are thinking, this all sounds wonderful, but I simply do not have the time. I barely get enough sleep as it is. Adding one more thing to my morning routine feels impossible. We live in a culture of breathless business. We wear our exhaustion like a badge of honor. But I want to gently challenge you to look at where your minutes actually go. How many mornings do you spend 15 minutes lying in bed, doomed scrolling through social media, absorbing bad news or comparing your life to strangers? How many minutes do you spend staring into your closet, paralyzed by decision fatigue? How many minutes do you spend frantically searching for lost keys or rushing because you hit the snooze button 3 times? We often say we don't have time for intimacy, but what we really mean is that we haven't prioritized it. We treat sex as a luxury item, something we will get to if and only if everything else on the to-do list is finished. But the list is never finished. The cost of morning intimacy is actually quite low. It requires setting your alarm just 15 to 20 minutes earlier. That is it. Now ask yourself, is 15 minutes of extra sleep that is likely light and fragmented anyway, worth more than the deep chemical connection with your partner? Is it worth more than the oxytocin boost, the stress reduction, and the feeling of being loved? When you say, I don't have time, you are really saying, this isn't important enough to make space for. But when you flip the script and view those 15 minutes as an investment rather than a cost, the time magically appears. You aren't losing sleep. You are gaining a superpower. You are trading a quarter hour of unconsciousness for a day filled with connection. First things first, there is a concept in personal finance called pay yourself first. The idea is that if you wait until the end of the month to save money, there will be nothing left. You have to take your savings out the moment the paycheck hits. Your energy works exactly the same way. As women, we are often the emotional anchors of our families. We pour our energy into our children, making sure they are fed and happy. We pour our energy into our bosses and colleagues, making sure the work is perfect. We pour our energy into our friends, our homes, and our communities. By the time the day is over, our emotional bank account is empty. We have nothing left to give to our partners, and certainly nothing left to give to ourselves. Morning intimacy is the act of paying yourself first. By engaging in connection before you even step out of the bedroom, you are making a radical declaration. You are saying, my relationship is the primary foundation of my life. My pleasure matters more than my inbox. My connection with this man matters more than the breakfast dishes. When you fill your own cup first thing in the morning, you are no longer operating from a place of deficit. You aren't resentful when the kids need you because you have already been tended to. You aren't bitter about the demands of your boss because you have already had your moment of joy. This is not selfishness, it is self-preservation. You cannot pour from an empty cup. By prioritizing your pleasure before the world wakes up to make its demands, you ensure that you are walking into the day full. You are stating that you are a woman and a lover before you are a mother, an employee, or a caretaker. This hierarchy is essential for a healthy life. When you put the relationship first, everything else flows from that stability. But when you put it last, it withers. Reclaiming your morning is essentially reclaiming your identity. It is a daily practice of putting the most important things in the most important time slot. Benefit 28, the mindfulness anchor getting out of your head. If you are anything like the modern woman, your mind is a time machine. It is rarely ever in the present moment. Most of the time, it is living in the future, planning, forecasting, and worrying. This mental chatter often starts the second you wake up. You are brushing your teeth, but mentally, you are already in a meeting that happens at 2:00 p.m. You are making coffee, but your mind is already cooking dinner or driving the kids to soccer practice. You are constantly living 3 hours ahead of your body. This state of constant anticipation is exhausting. It is the root of anxiety. We are told that the cure for this is meditation. We are told to sit on a cushion, close our eyes, and clear our minds. But for a busy, high-functioning woman, sitting in silence can feel like torture. The moment you try to be quiet, to-do list just gets louder. This is where morning intimacy becomes a profound tool for mental health. It acts as somatic meditation. Unlike sitting on a cushion and trying to focus, physical intimacy forces you to focus. It is impossible to worry about your grocery list when you are experiencing intense physical pleasure. It is impossible to stress about an email when your skin is being touched with intention. The sensation is so immediate and so demanding that it pulls your brain out of the future and slams it right back into the present. Think of it as an anchor. When your mind tries to drift away into the stress of the day, the physical connection drags it back down into your body. It grounds you. It quiets the noise. For those 20 minutes, you are not a mother, a boss, or a planner. You are just a body breathing and feeling. This break from your own thoughts is incredibly restorative. It gives your brain a rest from the constant forecasting mode. You start your day having already experienced a moment of total presence, which makes it much easier to stay calm and centered when the chaos of the schedule finally begins. The sensory awakening, beyond just quieting the mind, morning intimacy serves as a total sensory awakening. Too many of us move through our mornings on autopilot. We are zombies. We shower, we dress, we eat, and we drive, all while being completely numb to the world around us. We don't taste the coffee, we just drink the caffeine. We don't feel the water, we just get clean. We are disassociated from our own lives. The morning offers a unique sensory landscape that doesn't exist at night, and intimacy is the best way to experience it. There is a specific quality to the morning light, soft, golden, and unforgiving in the most beautiful way. There is a specific quality to the silence before the traffic starts and the neighbors wake up. There is the profound contrast between the warmth of the duvet and the crisp coolness of the morning air on your face. When you engage in intimacy during this time, you are tuning your senses to a higher frequency. You become hyper aware of the texture of the sheets against your legs. You notice the dust motes dancing in the sunbeam. You hear the rhythm of your partner's breath amplified by the quiet of the house. This is a grounding technique that therapists often recommend for anxiety. Name 5 things you can see, 4 things you can feel, but instead of a clinical exercise, you are doing it through pleasure. You are using your partner's body as the grounding object. Feel the weight of his hand. See the light in his eyes, hear the sound of your own voice, smell the natural scent of his skin unmasked by cologne. By engaging all 5 senses before you even leave the bed, you are waking up your soul, not just your body. You are transitioning from a numb robot into a living, feeling, vibrant woman. You carry this sensory aliveness with you. The sky looks bluer on your commute. The music in the car sounds richer. You are no longer sleepwalking through your life. You are fully, vibrantly awake to the beauty that surrounds you. You have turned the mundane act of waking up into a celebration of being alive. Benefit 9. The immune system boosts the science of a gay. We have talked extensively about how morning intimacy makes you feel, the emotional armor, the stress reduction, the confidence. But now I want to talk about what it actually does to your physical machinery. We often separate our sexual health from our general health, but they are inextricably linked. If you are the type of woman who seems to catch every cold that goes around the office, or if you feel run down by the changing seasons, the solution might not be more vitamin C. It might be more morning connection. There is a fascinating biological component to sexual activity known as immunoglobulin A, or EGA. This is an antibody that plays a critical role in the immune function of your mucous membranes. Think of EGA as your body's first line of defense against invading viruses and bacteria. Researchers at Wilkes University in Pennsylvania conducted a study that found something remarkable. Individuals who engaged in sexual activity 1 to 2 times a week had 30% higher levels of IgA than those who abstained. When you start your day with intimacy, you are essentially giving your immune system a booster shot. You are revving up the engine of your body's defense mechanisms. By getting your heart rate up and releasing those positive hormones early in the morning, you are creating an internal environment that is hostile to illness. Think of it as preventative medicine. We take vitamins, we drink green juice, and we try to get enough sleep, all in the name of staying healthy. But we often overlook the fact that pleasure is a nutrient too. By making this a regular part of your morning routine, you aren't just building a stronger relationship, you are building a stronger body. You are equipping yourself to fight off the physical stresses of the world just as effectively as the emotional ones. Fatality over coffee now. Let's look at your energy source. For most of us, the morning ritual revolves around one thing, the coffee pot. We treat caffeine as a necessity, a lifeline that drags us from the land of the dead into the land of the living. We rely on that dark liquid to jumpstart our brains and get our limbs moving. But let's be honest about the quality of energy that caffeine provides. It is borrowed energy. It blocks the sleep receptors in your brain, tricking you into feeling awake. It often comes with a side effect of jitters, anxiety, or that mid-afternoon crash where you feel more tired than before. It is a frantic, buzzy kind of energy that mimics stress. Morning intimacy offers a completely different fuel source. Vitality is not the same as being caffeinated. Vitality is deep, sustainable, generated energy. When you are intimate, your body releases a cocktail of hormones that naturally increase your alertness and metabolic rate. You are waking up your system from the inside out, rather than pouring a stimulant on top of it. Women who switch their focus from coffee to connection often report that they don't just feel awake, they feel alive. There is a spring in their step that doesn't come from a chemical stimulant. It comes from the fact that their blood is pumping, their muscles have been engaged, and their nervous system has been soothed and activated simultaneously. This doesn't mean you have to give up your morning latte. Rituals are important, but imagine drinking that coffee not because you desperately need it to function, but simply because you enjoy the taste. Imagine sitting there, mug in hand, already feeling energized, already feeling a hum of electricity in your veins. That is the difference between surviving your morning and thriving in it. You are running on premium fuel, the energy of life itself, rather than the artificial energy of a bean. Benefit pay 10, long-term relationship longevity, the routine of love. We often think of romance as something spontaneous, a lightning bolt of passion that strikes out of nowhere. But if you talk to couples who have been happily married for 30, 40, or 50 years, they will tell you a different secret. They will tell you that love is not a lightning bolt. It is a habit, it is a routine. In a long-term relationship, it is dangerously easy to fall into the routine of logistics. You wake up, you discuss who is picking up the dry cleaning, you talk about the bills, you coordinate the calendar. Your partner stops being your lover and starts being your co-manager. Over time, this erodes the foundation of desire. You stop seeing them as a source of pleasure and start seeing them as another obligation to manage. Morning intimacy breaks this pattern by establishing a routine of love. When you prioritize connection first thing in the morning, you are setting a psychological filter for how you view your partner for the rest of the day. This is known in psychology as the halo effect. Because your first interaction with them was positive, physical, and loving, your brain is primed to interpret their subsequent actions through a charitable lens. If he forgets to take out the trash later that day, you are less likely to see it as a sign of disrespect and more likely to see it as a simple mistake. Why? Because you are still riding the wave of connection from the morning. You have established a benevolent tone for the relationship. By making this a regular part of your week, you are weaving intimacy into the very fabric of your domestic life. It stops being a special event that requires planets to align and starts being just what we do. It becomes as natural as having breakfast, and there is immense security in that. Knowing that no matter how busy life gets, no matter how tired you are at night, you have this built-in ritual of reconnection ensures that you never drift too far apart. You are constantly tethering yourselves back together before the day has a chance to pull you apart. Emotional bank account Dr. John Gottman, the world's leading researcher on relationships, speaks often about the concept of the emotional bank account. Every relationship has one. Every positive interaction, a compliment, a smile, a moment of listening, is a deposit. Every negative interaction, a criticism, an eye roll, a moment of neglect is a withdrawal. Relationships hit a crisis point not necessarily because of one big fight, but because the bank account has been overdrawn. There are too many withdrawals and not enough deposits. When the account is empty, every small conflict feels like bankruptcy. Morning intimacy is, without a doubt, one of the most significant deposits you can make. Think of it as front-loading your investment. By 8:00 a.m., you have already put a massive amount of emotional currency into the account. You have affirmed your partner's desirability. You have physically reconnected. You have shared joy. This creates a buffer zone for the rest of the day. Life is hard. Stress happens. Later in the evening, you might be irritable. He might say something the wrong way. You might have a disagreement about finances. But because the bank account is full, that withdrawal doesn't crash the system. You have resilience. You can afford to have a bad moment because the foundation of the day was so strong. Couples who neglect this connection are operating on thin margins. They are living paycheck to paycheck. Emotionally speaking, one bad argument can derail them because they haven't built up that reserve of good feelings. By committing to morning intimacy, You are essentially buying insurance for your marriage. You are ensuring that even on the hard days, even on the days when you are tired or stressed, the baseline of your relationship remains high. You are telling your partner, I am investing in us every single day. And that investment compounds over time, creating a relationship that isn't just surviving, but is rich, abundant, and unbreakable. It turns your marriage into a fortress that the stress of the outside world simply cannot breach. How to start tomorrow overcoming the inertia. We have traveled a long way together in this video. We have explored the biology of hormones, the psychology of stress, the secrets of beauty, and the foundations of long-term love. Intellectually, you now understand why this shift is so powerful, but I also know human nature. I know that understanding a concept is very different from actually living it. The hardest part of any new habit is inertia. Newton's first law of motion tells us that an object at rest stays at rest. And let's be honest, at 6 under aim, you are very much an object at rest. You are warm, you are comfortable, and the idea of expending energy can feel daunting. So how do you bridge the gap between the intention to have morning intimacy and the action of actually doing it? The secret is to lower the bar. One of the biggest mistakes we make is thinking that intimacy has to be a marathon. We think it has to be this grand acrobatic movie scene event. That pressure alone is enough to make you roll over and go back to sleep. I want you to throw that expectation out the window. Start small. Start with what I call the 2-minute touch. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, commit to just 2 minutes of skin-to-skin contact. That is it. You don't have to perform. You don't even have to have sex. Just spoon. Press your body against his, run your hand down his arm, nuzzle your face into his neck. Why does this work? Because action creates momentum. The hardest part is simply breaking the seal of separation. Once you make that first physical contact, the oxytocin starts to flow. The dopamine kicks in. Your body wakes up. Often those 2 minutes of cuddling naturally evolve into something more without you having to mentally force it. But even if they don't, even if you just cuddle for 10 minutes and then get up, you have still won. You've still flooded your system with bonding hormones. You have still prioritized connection over isolation. Don't focus on the finish line. Focus on the first step. Don't worry about being a sex goddess before you've had your coffee. Just be a woman who is willing to reach out. When you take the pressure off, you allow the pleasure to flow in. The invitation, I want to leave you with a vision. I want you to close your eyes for a moment, just for a few seconds, and visualize your morning tomorrow. The alarm goes off. In the old version of your life, this was the moment of dread. This was the moment your hand shot out to grab your phone, immediately flooding your brain with blue light, work emails, and the stress of the news cycle. But tomorrow, you are going to do something different. Tomorrow, when that alarm rings, you are going to turn it off and leave the phone face down. You are going to reject the digital world for just 20 minutes. You are going to turn inward toward the warm body lying next to you. Feel the shift in the room. It is quiet. The light is soft. The rest of the house is still asleep. In this moment, nothing exists but the two of you. You reach out. You feel the warmth of his skin. You feel your own breath slowing down, sensing with his. You feel the slow, delicious rise of energy in your body, not the frantic energy of stress, but the deep, grounding energy of desire. Imagine the feeling of leaving the bed afterward. Imagine standing in the shower, feeling the hot water on your skin, and realizing that you are smiling. You aren't worried about the meeting at 10:00 a.m. You aren't obsessing over your to-do list. You feel light. You feel beautiful. You feel a secret glow radiating from your chest. You walk into the kitchen to make coffee, and when you look at your partner, there is a sparkle in his eye that wasn't there yesterday, a silent acknowledgement, a tether of love that connects you. This reality is available to you. It isn't reserved for newlyweds or people on vacation. It is available on a random Tuesday in November. It is available right now. It just requires one simple choice: to choose the person next to you over the device on your nightstand, to choose pleasure over panic, to choose to start your day not as a worker but as a lover. Accept this invitation. Reclaim your morning. It belongs to you. Final sign off. We have covered 10 profound benefits, but the truth is there are a million more. Intimacy is the lifeblood of a relationship, and it is the secret fountain of youth for your own spirit. By moving this sacred act to the morning, you are prioritizing yourself in a world that constantly asks you to prioritize everyone else. I hope this video has sparked something in you. I hope it has given you permission to view your sexuality not as a chore, but as a source of power. I hope it has validated your need for connection and given you the tools to ask for it. Now, I have a question for you, and I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Are you naturally a night owl or a morning lark? And after watching this, are you willing to try switching your routine for just 1 week to see how it changes your mood? I read every single comment, and I love seeing this community of women supporting each other. Your stories inspire me, and they inspire other women who are reading them, wondering if they are alone in their feelings. You are not alone. You are part of a tribe of women who are waking up to their own worth. If you found value in this deep dive, please take a second to like this video. It helps this message reach more women who need to hear it. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We explore the psychology of relationships, intimacy, and feminine power every single week, and I don't want you to miss the next chapter. Thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for investing in yourself. Remember, you are beautiful, you are powerful, and you deserve to start every single day feeling deeply, wildly loved. Go out there and own your morning. I will see you in the next video.